That said, thank you all for joining the IGEL Community Meetup, the December 2021. It seems like literally just a month ago we had Matthias on and we were doing 2020, but it has been a year, and wow, what a year it's been. A lot of fun. I think it was a lot better than 2020 as far as personal goes, but we're looking forward to 2022 and beyond. So we have some great folks on, which I'll introduce here right now. So the agenda today is pretty simple. We have three of our, like I sort of joked earlier, but it wasn't a joke, what I find to be our most important people within the company. That these are the guys responsible for the product. And as we're technologists, I'm a techie. Seb is definitely a techie. You know, we look to these guys as the coolest people within the company. So we brought them on to sort of recap 2021. So we have Matthias, who's our CTO, and he's going to do just real briefly, or for as long as he really wants, I wouldn't call it briefly, but sort of his year in review. Then we're going to bring on Christian, who's our Director of Product Management and responsible for OS 11, and he's going to talk about OS 11 and some of the stuff they've done and anything else he wants to. And then we have Molly, who's our VP of Product Management, and he's responsible for a bunch of things, but one of the things I think he does probably each day, I hope you don't dream about it, but I imagine you do, is OS 12, and which is, you know, the future of IGEL, and it's really exciting technology, and I can't wait to see this, you know, come to market. Then we're going to open this thing up for Q&A. So please, as we go through this, do use the questions piece and ask your questions, and we'll get to them in due time. That said, we do have upcoming meetings, although 2022 is to be determined. I do have a few in the works, but nothing what we're going to share with you yet. And hopefully we're going to do in-person events again. The end of 2019, we had planned for 2020 in-person events. You know, we're going to do a world tour. Well, that's 2 years ago. So, but we will get to this soon, and we can't wait to do this in person. Come out and bring these folks with us and have a grand old time sharing, drinking some beer and talking tech. So definitely head over to igelcommunity.com/events for more of these, and just stay tuned within the community. You'll get bugged. That said, I'm really excited. At the beginning of 2021, probably the biggest change within the IGEL community is I was given a resource. For the first, the 20th will be 4 years old. And for the first 3 years, it was just me and a bunch of volunteers, which the volunteers is really the secret sauce. One of those huge volunteers being Sebastian. But in January, he became, you know, worked my cohort. We worked side by side. And that said, one of the things I always wanted to do is create some really deep dive technical videos, do more technical stuff, but I'm not that deep in tech. So the first thing I told Seb, or asked him, begged of him, was, hey man, can we create some great technology videos? So Seb, do you want to explain what we call the TTT, triple T?
Yes, please, because it's the most unpronounceable name I've ever found for any kind of categories in IGEL. So it's the Tech Tip Tuesday videos. So on a regular base, we are publishing between 5 and 15 minutes tutorial videos on actual topic that we are seeing on the IGEL community. That can start by how to deploy the IGEL operating system via an OSC installer, via USB stick, or how to set up the virtual appliance for the OSC installer. Can go through how to use a display switcher, etc., etc. So basically, covering your needs in a short tutorial video. That's happening on a regular basis, like I said, and what Doug is just showing at the moment, it's the so-called TP, so Technology Partner. As a result of our IGEL Ready partnership with a couple of people from outside the world, from our ecosystem, we are having technology partners joining the community at the end on the onboarding process. You might not have noticed them because we are not inviting people to that technology partner channels, just because we do not want to do some advertisements, publicity, etc. So you have to search for them by your own. And that's what we are covering in the few screenshots here. So just in case, use the browse channels or just the channel browser itself and start with TP minus. And then you will get a list of all the different technology partners that we have at the moment. It starts with end computing, it goes over to LGE, over Lenovo, but also over software companies like Login, BSI, etc. So that's something which is not seen directly, but can be searched manually by you. So there you will get also contents like NFR kits, like documentations, or tutorials coming from the vendors. On the other hand, like we just spoke about the Tech Tip Tuesday videos, they're published on an IGEL Community video website, which is holding not only the Tech Tip Tuesday videos, but also all the Meetup that we did. The internal ones, when speaking about actual topics, speaking of external vendor that we invited, like the IGE one, or the last year recap that we had together with Matthias Haas, or going through all the different meetups that we had on a monthly basis, where we covered topics from the market, like ICG, hardening, etc. Or like Ronier covered the GitHub stuff. So that's where you will get all the videos on one place. Next slide.
You got it. You got it. So to learn more, there's a bunch of different things we do within the IGEL community. If you're not a member, please join us, join.igelcommunity.com. And then, of course, all the other sites. Really just go to www.igelcommunity.com and you'll find them all. So that said, the very last thing we want to share with you or say to you or beg of you is please ask questions. This is really going to be a Q&A type of event. These guys will present a bit and share their views and what they've done and what have you. But the value here is really for you to ask questions. Please do not put the questions in chat. We might miss them. Use the Q&A piece. We put a fancy little arrow down here. You'll see Q&A. Put those in there. And then Sebastian and I will be fielding those and then asking them to the panel, and they will be answering them. It's that simple. So that said, let's go ahead and stop sharing the screen, stop doing our community advertisement, and let's get to it. So we'll take Matthias first. First of all, everyone, Matthias is my boss. So if you want to leave the questions that Doug is the greatest ever, every time Matthias is around, I do this crap to him. Anyway, don't say anything negative about me. But Matthias, maybe you can share, a bit about what's going on, or, what happened in 2021, what you guys brought to market.
Sure, absolutely. I'm just still confused by Christian's new fancy webcam that always scrolls around. So.
It's the same for me, huh?
So hello everybody, good to have you here, and yeah, good to be able to talk to you and have a look on what we did this year, and all the things that happened. As you said at the beginning, right? I think 2021 was like it just passed by like this. So many different things happened. We started in lockdown, at least here in Germany. I don't know where you're located, but in Germany, we started at the beginning of the year with a lockdown. I don't know how long it lasted. When was it? Until April or so? Can't recall exactly.
Yeah, I think we were locked down in Berlin until beginning of May.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the summer was like, I'm just setting the COVID perspective. And if you don't want to hear it, just raise your hand or say, stop talking about this. But the summertime was quite easy. Yeah, there's the first one that said, I don't want to see it anymore. Thanks, Sebastian. But it also changed the dynamics, right? So we had a lot of Zoom calls. We had lots of people that joined the company. We had, developer meetings. We had the online, everything was online, right? Like Disrupt. We had our annual tech kickoff, the strategy and focus days, completely online. First time for us. And although it was interesting and a good learning, and people were sharing a lot, I think the personal interaction was still lacking. So the good thing was during the summertime we had the ability to meet again, but also see some of the people for the first time that have joined the company. Also, see customers, get in touch with people. It's something different. I don't know whether you've seen the video from Jet. I found this, the one yesterday. What does it say? Stay human. I can only subscribe to this. People are human animals. And yeah, absolutely. Because they social animals, sorry. And there needs to be some interaction there. So what does this mean? Now we are back in the winter time. We are back in a kind of lockdown mode, or like socially distanced mode. So we have this meeting also online here again, and still have the ability to talk to each other. What I want to say with this, if we translate this to the modern world, and especially to the business world that we live in. I think what we see here is hybrid is here to stay. Hybrid has arrived in lots of companies. This year, we have learned so much as an organization, using that our own technology, but also as an organization that helps our customers to survive and be productive in such a hybrid world. That although that the 2021 went by quite fast, there was so much learning, so much sharing, so much change that we have applied within the company, especially in the way how we try to understand our customers, understand the workflows, understand the services, the ability to be productive, to be more efficient, how we as IGEL can support our customers making this happen. Talking about this, I think you've seen quite some releases this year. We had a couple of OS 11 releases where we moved the needle forward in terms of unified communication, in terms of the capability to faster release new products, in terms of how we can faster support newer chipsets. So the way how we did this in the past with our private builds was quite successful. But what we've also learned, that's something that will guide us into 2022, is that you can only do so much with a private release, right? Private release is helping you to fix issues, to fix problems that appear for specific customers. But the way how we need to look in the future, because there's more of those requirements to be up to date, to be able to deploy an application quickly, all of this is guiding us towards OS 12 and our ability to release specific functions at a very high speed. I'm not getting tired of talking about all of the experiences that we have in the world of Zoom and Teams, that all of a sudden your client says, hey, you're outdated, you cannot connect to your current Zoom session. Then you sit there and think, oh my God, right? How shall I survive the day? I don't know how your life is, but my life is pretty much built around Zoom, Teams, and online collaboration. So if I'm getting locked out, I'm getting nervous. And I think also a lot of our customers are facing those challenges. Now you could argue, hey, there's some vendors are going with a fast pass and a slow pass. That means you have better control of when updates are happening. But still, you have the challenge to deploy applications and functions to your endpoints. And this was one of the big learnings that we had this year, that we need to change the way how we do private builds. That's the one thing that has an effect on OS 11, but also the way how we designed OS 12. And now you could say, okay, hey, the app idea that we introduced with OS 12, that's something that we came up this year. Actually, we started designing, thinking OS 12 like beginning of 2020. We didn't have a very clear picture how we want to drive this, but we had the idea that we need to work on in the direction of enabling customers to do frequent, smaller steps and continue to innovate with their products. Talking about this is also that was one of the big learnings for me this year, that the idea of, hey, my EUC is not a project. That means I deployed, let's say, Citrix a year ago, and I want to run this for the next 5 years. That's not the way how companies are functioning anymore to a vast extent. Companies have changed to I would call this a product lifecycle approach, right? Where you're continuously doing small little increments, improvements, new features. Your system is never ready. You always continue to change and improve your system. You could call this CI/CD if you live in the modern world. You can say this is cloud delivered, cloud service oriented. But in the end, it's a change in behavior, how our customers are going to, you as a customer, as a partner, you're going to manage your endpoints in the future. And we are appreciating all of this feedback. We have talked to a lot of customers on OS 12. Mali can talk a little bit about this. And we have learned that the principal idea of OS 12 is taking us on the right path to support our customers, our partners, to be successful in this faster moving, faster evolving, new feature-driven world. The second thing that we have learned from this hybrid world in 2021 is that the ability to, support latest chipsets, support mobile use cases is a key element. You might have seen some improvements in the way how IGEL OS 11 is now supporting docking stations, supporting, Wi-Fi drivers, or is helping to roam between a wired connection and non-wired connection. We are not perfect. We are not there where we want to be, but we see that we are moving forward in the right direction, and where we are making a big push on OS 12. Right, OS 12 will be built around better support of a mobile use case. It's a kind of the experience that we had with headsets a couple of years ago, where everybody said, "Hey, why do you have technology partners as headset vendors?" Because people just want to make sure that this works, right? I plug it in and it's working. But actually, it's hard, right? If you want to make sure that you have a great experience, you need to collaborate with these guys, understand the driver infrastructure, understand the use cases. Same thing is going to happen with the mobile use case. Mobile use case means I want to be able to plug in the docking station. I want to have different monitor setups. I want to connect to a presenter. I want to be able to roam between a Wi-Fi wired connection, or probably also 5G. Hey, 5G has arrived in Germany. My phone says 5G at least. I don't know whether you had the experience, but I was shocked how fast this was expanding in the market. Sorry, I'm making always that joke. But, mobile network in Germany is getting better.
Is there literally 5G in Germany? Is this true?
Have a look. It says 5G on my phone. Probably that's just like made up, but let me see whether I can show it to you. It says 5G.
I think we're still
on. You don't have 5G in Berlin.
Pretty sure I'm on Edge. I see Edge a lot, and that's no joke.
Because we are Edge OS operating system.
Yeah,
this is true. This is true.
5G, it says. Wow. Have a look.
Okay. Witchcraft. I can't believe
Witchcraft, 5G.
I think that's fake.
Just making fun, sorry.
You must be in a different country.
Yeah, we're in Bavaria. This is not Berlin, But getting back to serious, I think we have seen a lot of, change that is happening. We have seen a lot of people are expanding their use cases. So they are going away from the traditional thin client use case where you just have a desk-mounted device and where you're connecting to your Citrix session to more of a, hey, I wanna make sure I'm not only using this in the office. I probably have a laptop, or I have people that are on the road. It's a thin OS, a thin edge OS on the endpoint. It's helping towards connecting to a virtualized infrastructure to VDI or a DAS environment. And we are confident with OS 12 that we are, taking this to the next level, helping people to better consume, virtualized applications, long tail Windows apps, and the ability to connect to your data and information wherever you need this. I personally have to say I jumped on that train. I'm currently also using IGEL OS, running this on an old Lenovo laptop with a UD Pocket, and I'm connecting currently to AVD. You could use this also with Citrix or what have you. So I'm an AVD guy. The good thing is I can switch my technology very fast, right? Because all of my data lives in the cloud. So if I want to go down the Citrix path, as IGEL OS is capable to do both, I can also quickly switch over to Citrix. And, that's also teaching me, what the experience needs to be, where we can get better. It's sometimes interesting to see what the product is already able to do so. But, experiencing this by yourself is really helping a lot. And I have to say, I'm really happy. I moved away from, you probably have heard this, like in the past, I was a Mac user. I haven't turned on my Mac for the last 2 months now. I don't know whether the battery is charged. Doug, I'm not using a Mac anymore. I'm not a.
You can send it to me.
Fanboy.
You have an M1, so send it to me. Okay, I really want I want to test the M. I'll send you my address.
Perfect.
I'm not joking.
Yeah, but you know, in the end, it's perfect equipped for this hybrid world, right? I'm moving from the office to my home office. I was, you know, traveling to the US. As long as you have a network connection, it's totally doable, and it's a great experience in the end, right? Because you have fast boot times, you have the ability to you know, use any system that you have on hand. It's pretty amazing. So I always learn like every day how I can use the system in different way, and that's what I mean. We've seen this year that people are moving out of the traditional thin client use case to a more broader adoption of connecting to a virtualized infrastructure and accessing your applications, desktops, wherever you need them. And I think this is for me one of the big learning curves this year, that we see this evolution and that we see more use cases coming up. And also, I think if you have a look on our technology partners with Citrix, with VMware, with Microsoft and Amazon, that they are constantly stacking new use cases into their systems, and you know, are a great fit for those. Yeah, I don't want to call it agile. Still, it's agile because it's something that changes fast, right? And you want to just make it right. But we are living in a more agile world, and if you don't have a fat client on hand, you don't have to manage local applications and data. I think you have a better life off. For instance, my laptop died, right? They sent me a new one. I put the UD Pocket in, I reconnected, and hey, I'm back online. So quite cool. Learning for 2022. Take all of the things that we've, you know, inhaled, that we learned from our partners, customers, into our plannings for 2022. Keep the lights on with OS 11. You still see huge investments going into OS 11, and we are also working heavily onto OS 12 because we think that this is the architecture of the future. And I think if you have a look on how we are positioning this with OS 11, keep it helping you to address the use cases of today and enabling you to do great things, starting from green screen applications to server-based computing to VDI and some DAS. I think we are expanding the abilities and the footprint of OS 12 to still keep those, you know, functions in place, but really help you as customers and partners to address more DAS-driven, desktop as a service-driven architectures, but also take the step into a more SaaS-delivered world where the browser gets front and center. You will see a lot of those capabilities, and I'm sure that Mali will talk about this in his presentation, that we are taking this, you know, in the center of the product, and that's the differentiation between OS 11 and OS 12, I guess, right? Helping you to be more successful with those new requirements. And I think I'm now going to shut up because I was talking way too long. But I think you will hear some great news from Christian. You will hear some great news from Mali. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that pop up. And I'm looking really to 2022, where we have another great year building solutions together, helping our customers and partners to be more successful, more efficient, and even more secure in this ever-changing world. That's my takeaway for 2022.
Perfect, Matthias. You can talk as long as you want. Remember, it's just send it on down. I'm more than happy to play with that thing. Well, let's move over to Christian Werner and talk a bit about IGEL OS 11. We talk about 12 and how great it's going to be, but 11 is pretty solid. We have a tremendous amount of customers. It's very solid. We have a tremendous amount of customers on it. We're going to continue developing. Well, I'll shut up and I'll let Christian talk about it. So, Christian, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, but we cannot see your webcam moving anymore. That's
I switched it, so of course that was just too crazy also for me.
Thank you.
No problem. So yes, let's start. So thanks for having me again. My pleasure to offer you the review in regards of IGEL OS 11. As Matthias said, so an exciting year. So the review in regards of IGEL OS 11, also some subtopics like hardware we have introduced in 2021, but focus is definitely software, as we are a software company, but we are still offering a bit of hardware. Overall, it was and is still a busy and definitely exciting year, and we are already looking forward to 2022. So I can underline the statement from Matthias, and yeah, more than nice things to come in next year. Also the outlook in regards of OS 12, UMS 12, and some new services will then be covered by Mali. But yes, my part is the review, and so we are basically talking about the 11.05 and the 11.06 stable release and the just few private builds we offered this year, and this includes also our latest GA release, the 11.06 210, which was offered and published last week. So of course, important is staying up to date. So we moved from kernel update to kernel update. So we came in 11.04 from kernel 5.4 to kernel 5.9 in the 11.05, and then to latest kernel 5.12 in our 11.06. And short outlook here, we are planning the 11.07 for Q1 next year with another kernel update. And this will then be kernel 5.15 LTS again. Just important to offer the outstanding IGEL OS hardware support also and always for current hardware and chipsets, in addition to the wide support we are already offering. Also some docking stations are included nowadays, so that's definitely a good point here. And of course, we are also up to date in regards of security, and so we updated all security patches to the most current level in our releases. Furthermore, we've updated also the ALSA and Pulse audio packages for good audio stuff, XORG, MESA drivers, and Fluendo packages. So a lot to maintain over the year from that perspective. Just necessary to offer a performant and up-to-date operating system. As example, in our 11.06 210, specific Fluendo codec versions were used for the corresponding Citrix Workspace app, and that to offer the best possible performance when it comes to browser content redirection with the Chromium embedded framework. Also, one huge topic last year, so in 2021, was the initial support of Amazon Workspaces. So the established partnership with Amazon, and then also the integration in our IGEL OS, which was not only a technical effort, but even more a legal effort to get all the paperwork done. So that took several months, so quite crazy, but definitely worth the effort. So a huge topic. As with them, we have the big four integrated in our IGEL OS. So Citrix with their Workspace app, VMware with their Horizon client, Microsoft's AVD, and now also AWS. With the 11.06 100, we had the first integration in a stable release. So private builds with base of 11.05 were offered before that, and we are using the most current versions, 3.1.9 in our 11.06. And this with offered support for device trust, which enables context-dependent access to the desktop. This context check can be location or usage of secured Wi-Fi, etc. Happens at logging and also continuously during the runtime of a session, means the remote terminal on the virtual desktop can react to changes with actions defined by the admin to allow or deny access. So quite a nice solution, and now possible in combination with Amazon Workspaces. Over the year, we were also focusing on an enhancement of the functionality of our Azure Virtual Desktop implementation. This also with the help of our great partners. And with them, we are now offering a nice and easy printer solution for printing within AVD sessions. This was easy from SimPrint in our 11.05. Excuse me, the first integrated and optimized unified communication with Zoom VDI for AVD happened also in our 11.05. Also in this version, we offered some redirection possibilities. This with the help of our partner FabulaTech, where we've integrated their software for proper webcam, USB, and scanner redirection. In the 11.06, we've added with an updated Systrix client from Lakeside support for the monitoring solution for usage within AVD. Our partner Device Trust is also offering support for AVD in the meantime, like mentioned in the context of AWS for defining context-dependent access. And also the basic support for CUPS were added in the 11.06, and of course, more than worth to mention is the support for Windows 365 Cloud PC with our AVD implementation. So overall, very nice additions and features for AVD during this year. So it's definitely worth that Matthias is using that now. Okay, besides of the AWS implementations, some more partner solutions were added. EPOS Connect, the remote management for EPOS and former Sennheiser devices for updating the firmware on the headset itself. Also some remote configuration options are possible there. An added local drive log agent. Drive log was already integrated for usage within Citrix sessions. Now also a local solution is offered. With that, local storage devices can be managed via security policies. So also an security enhancement for the IGEL OS itself, and a nice enhancement for users of dictation devices. There we are offering support for the cloud-based speech write solution for managing recorded dictations in a quite easy way. These solutions were offered with our 11.05 in February. With the 11.06, one further open source tool with the name Conky were added. And I know you community guys like this a lot. This is a small system monitor that displays system information such as CPU usage, memory and hard drive usage, network load, and many, many more directly on the desktop. Also possible to set in a windowless mode, means it could be nicely integrated within the local desktop. So very understandable why you like that. Also, Oblidis from Systantia were re-added. This is a quite small but handy VDI solution, not really new, as we had this integration already in OS 10. And now we have reintegrated the solution in our IGEL OS 11 due to some customer demand, and definitely not new. But now officially supported is our Chromium browser integration. This was initially offered with our 11.04. First as an experimental feature. With the 11.06, we announced the official support. And now with the 11.06.210, Chromium is now also equipped with a proper H.264 hardware acceleration. So during this pandemic situation, an even hotter topic than it was already before, because unified communication is, I would say, our daily bread of work. So for Cisco WebEx meetings VDI, the offloading support for VMware Horizon were added, in addition to the existing support for Citrix. And to be more flexible, also 3 different versions are integrated in IGEL OS in general now. This makes it just easier to switch between different environments, so perfect for updating the environment as the same firmware version can still be used. For that reason, we offered that also for our integrated Zoom VDI plugins, which are usable for Citrix, VMware Horizon, and as already mentioned, also for AVD. Also a big step during that year is the Teams optimization within VMware. So this was initially offered via Horizon Client 2106, and this version were, and is also part of the 11.06 releases. For now, we are working on the integration of VMware Horizon 2111, which was released end of last week by VMware. So this will be offered in the next time via private build. Here just an easy and quick overview about what is possible today, respectively what is missing. There definitely worth to mention is the Teams optimization within AVD. There we are working closely with Microsoft, and we are able to offer the base functionality via technical preview versions. So please let us know when you are interested, but up to now, we are not able to offer a GA date and an official integration for that. But we hope that we can offer that soon. And we offered also more than nice IGEL developed features. So one important and also biggest one is the pre-boot authentication, so further security layer. With that, passphrase is needed to get access to the encrypted user space, so no boot of IGEL OS and no access to any user-specific data without that password. Also a very handy IGEL feature, which makes things definitely easier, especially for users of mobile devices, is the automatic switch between Wi-Fi and LAN. With that, Wi-Fi will be directly enabled when no LAN cable is plugged. Vice versa, when network cable is plugged in, Wi-Fi will be disabled and the local port used for the network communication. Excuse me. And for not managed and not licensed devices, so typically demo devices, we've implemented a direct firmware update feature when we recognize that an older firmware is used, offer therefore a direct firmware update to the most current version, and that via pop-up on the desktop. So super easy. Excuse me. So many words. And we've done and offered a lot of client driver libraries updates over the year for our partner solutions. As you can see in one slide, it's definitely not sufficient for all the updates. In general, this is an ongoing task for us as we try to keep our whole system with all the nice partner solutions up to date. to offer the best solution, and that with all current updates included. In these regards, next thing we are going to offer is an updated private build with base of the 11.06.210 with an updated Zoom VDI plugin, current WebEx VDI, and Citrix Workspace App 21.11 during this week. Also, as Citrix is offering CWA 21.12 this week, we will offer here an additional private build in the course of next week. So just in short, a short recap about the hardware we offered this year. The first one was definitely more software approach. Nevertheless, combined with a specific hardware, this is how IGEL OS was before, which is obviously a cooperation with N Computing, where we are offering an IGEL OS on a WASP-4 based system. And for that, we've created a new IGEL OS for this platform and architecture. Besides of the new IGEL Core OS for that platform, we've integrated Citrix Workspace App, Citrix Workspace Sub for offering the so-called Citrix casting feature, and in addition, an integrated Chromium browser, and also in our latest version, the support for Philips speech dictation devices for usage within Citrix. More to come then for that series in 2022.
Maybe, Christian, just to give you some time to drink in kindly some water for your voice, just jumping in.
That would be nice, yeah.
No, you should take your time, and I would just jump in for a couple of seconds. So on the Raspberry Pi topic, we had the chance to involve a couple of people from the IGEL community giving feedback on that product. So they were in an early stage adopters for the project. So they had also the hardware on their home, on their offices, and had the ability to give feedback and to influence a little bit also the development of the product. So it made us pretty proud, I must say, because it was one of the first projects in this kind of manner that we had in the community, and where we had the chance to get feedback from a couple of insiders too. So just saying thank you very much also to you guys from PM to giving us the ability to ask people from the field, asking customers and partners to give the feedback about our products. So just saying thank you also from my side, because I know that it was highly appreciated, and it was really helpful for us too to get some insights, even on the getting started guide for the product.
You got it. And one of the other things why you have the Pi up there, the Raspberry Pi piece, we get the question all the time, so I'd like to throw it out there. Do we have any plans for releasing IGEL OS for ARM on allowing customers to put them on other devices other than the in-computing? Anything we can comment there?
So not really. So this is still in discussion, but currently there's no time frame for that.
Okay.
But nevertheless, I can underline that the feedback from the community is really helpful for us, and is still welcome for offering the next features and integrations in next year. So please continue to offer feedback for that series.
We will, I promise.
Whether you like it or not.
Okay, thanks a lot. Then let's see how it goes with my voice. So the next slide. I guess you have heard about our new UD Pocket 2, just a new form factor. So the same software stack, which is the well-known IGEL OS, of course, and also the corresponding licensing. Only change is basically the added USB-C connector. And as you can see with that USB stick, we are offering both, so USB-C and USB-A. With that, you are definitely able to find a suitable slot. And available since April this year. Also an updated UD7 were offered this year. So just the facts in short, as you should be already aware of that. Design is the lean and nice one we are using already for other models, so UD2 and UD3. This high-end device has, of course, also a high-end CPU. There we are using the AMD Ryzen V1605B with 4 real cores and 8 threads. Max here is 3.6 GHz, and we are offering again 4 display ports, now without the need of an additional graphic card like it was the case with our former UD7. This device comes also with a TPM module on board, an optional integrated fiber port for fiber optic networks, and Wi-Fi Bluetooth is also optional integrated. And this device was released in Q2 this year. Okay, also some nice things happened over the year via our new IGEL Ready program. And there we have following vendors in the accelerated status. This means fully supported with the current listed devices. So as example, we've added the official support for 3 HP devices. So the T430, T540, and T640 are now officially supported and can be ordered with a pre-installed IGEL OS, so quite nice. And that is also the case for some hardware models from Lenovo, LG, and also Dynabook. Please see our IGEL Ready showcase where all our partners with the supported devices or software as well are shown with their current status via IGEL Ready, via igel.com/ready. So not only hardware models were added, also some nice software solutions are shown there as well, always worth a look. And also one quite special hardware device were added with the Cobra Stick VS. With that, we are offering a 2-factor pre-boot authentication. So smart card and PIN is mandatory here. The stick is fully BSI qualified, so a quite important certification for government-based institutions in Germany. And with our partner Digitrade, who is the vendor of the stick, we are offering an IGEL version of that stick with a nice IGEL branding, as you can see. And the licensing for that stick is handled in a similar way, like we are doing this with our UD Pockets. Means the license is bound to the USB stick itself and can be used basically on any endpoint.
May I just jump in, Christian, just to give a short insight from my history, because we had a customer in Germany who were interested in such kind of devices, I would say 5 years ago. And we recommended at that time English manufacturer, which is called iStorage, which is also having a hardware encrypted USB stick with a pin pad, but which was lacking a few, let's say, enterprise level features. And when I first saw that product, I guess it was beginning of the year during our internal disrupt, I was doing an internet kickoff. I must say that I was a little bit surprised, saying, okay, the product itself is not new, but if you see that this device is also having a smart card reader, which is something which is quite unique, I would say. It's an absolutely different approach than what iStorage is doing. So this product is highly welcome on the market where high secured environments are needed. So just saying, it's not only a USB stick where IGEL OS is installed on it, it's a way more than that.
Yeah, so definitely we are quite happy to found that partner, and now we are able to offer a nice and highly secured combined solution. So this stick is IGEL OS is definitely a good enhancement in regards to security. Okay, and yes, that's it for IGEL OS during the year 2021. And please don't forget our other great software products and the updates we offered in 2021, like the introduced heartbeat feature to identify that device as an UMS, added new system information, added view for devices with a pending configuration update in UMS console, and the new monitor functionality introduced in our UMS 6.09, UMS web app with constant improvements in regards of the user interface, the added main section called configuration to match all configuration objects in one place, the reworked user rights, enhanced logging, and many more, and also the new things we offered in our ILP, so in our license portal, basically to increase the usability and offering an easier license enrollment. And yeah, overall, too many good features to maybe to present it just this time. I have also no words left, so maybe it would be worth to offer an additional session, but now I guess I've consumed enough time, and I would like to give a few minutes also to Mali, who will talk about the future and the nice things to come, which means IGEL OS 12, UMS 12, and also the new services. So a lot of exciting stuff, and for that I'm handing over to Mali. Thanks for your time and attention, and always great to be part of this community. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you very much, Christian, and take care of yourself over there. We need your voice in one piece.
Just one small hint, because questions were already asked in the question and answer section. We are seeing them they are still there. So we'll just ask them after the OS 12 section, because most of them are belonging to it. Besides just one, which is coming up from René Biegler, which is related to the Universal Management Agent. So Christian, it might be also related to you a little bit. Is UMA dead? Any plans to develop it further?
So it's not dead, it's still supported, but currently there are no plans to do some further development for that.
Okay, great.
So it's still part of the QNEMP package. So when you have any problems, please feel free to call our support, but currently there's no roadmap for any further development here.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Molly, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you, Christian, for your commitment to stay here with our meeting. Get well soon.
Thanks, man.
So what I've prepared for you, I have some slides for you, and these slides are just to recap what we did already in 2021, and hopefully to raise your questions. So bring your question in mind to ask me and my colleagues if you have any. Before I start to recap 2021 from a professional perspective, I would like to recap it from a personal perspective. So 2021 was a really exciting year for me because I've joined IGEL at the beginning of this year. So it's almost 12 months and time is really ticking away. So I agree on what Matthias said already. It was really exciting for me. I had a really warm welcome from my new colleagues from IGEL, but also it's really exciting, and I love to be part on this IGEL community with you together. So hopefully I'll give you some insight what we already did in regards of the new products, and come back to you with some Q&A afterwards. Yeah. You can believe that I'm really looking forward to hold the baby in my arms, so OS 12 next year. But it is something which needs time to get good. And it's almost like a real baby. Takes some time to bring it on the world, holding in your hands, helping it out to bring it in the field. And I know you will. You're also excited to see what we have on this, and hopefully we will make this true in the mid of next year together. So I was able to be part of the OS 12 discussion from almost from the first beginnings of the discussions, the ideas, and then the conceptual phase. And it's all about what we plan to do or are already doing is to enable you and make you prepared for the future. And what we envision as the future is that it may take some time. I don't know how long it will take in the end, but we see that all of the things we are using today in terms of services and software is being cloud delivered. So our envision is, and that's really what we believe, that one day we will start consuming all of our software from a cloud delivered world. And if you look back at the history, you see that some of the ideas which we have nowadays already was in place in the beginning of the computing world. So when you're looking in the 1980s, there was already the idea to have a central computing unit where you connect with your terminal to, and the terminal is more or less something which visualize the computing of something happening in the central station. So with the evolving area 2, there was the idea to have all this computing stuff locally. So the personal computer, everything happens on your desk. And if you want to share information or data with somebody else, it was really hard to do that, because you need to use disks, CDs, USB sticks, and then network came up and started to centralize again some shared resources in your personal data center. And then now, where we are now is to have the best of both worlds. So everything you need to do on your desk, you can do on your desk, but everything you need to consume from the cloud, you're able to do that by consuming the called digital workspaces, the hybrid world of connecting to the cloud and doing some of the computation on your desk. And the best thing is mostly you're not really aware of where it will happen if it's happening on your personal area or somewhere in the world, in any of the cloud data centers in the world. And how this might change our thinkings of what we need to change in our operating system. If you look on this slide, I'm sure you know this slide. It's our commitment to what we provide with IGEL OS 11. So it's the architecture where we promise you to be able to connect on any cloud with any device, means independent of where you're sitting, independent of where your applications are running and your desktops are running. So mostly the most well-known cloud providers here are being mentioned. That does mean we are enabling you with OS 11 to connect to these cloud providers and consume your desktops or the application within your desktops. So what is happening? We are preparing OS 12 as something which might change the architecture slide a little bit. So OS 12 will bring some changes to the new architecture, which we envision. Beside of what we have on the left upper corner, where you can connect for sure with OS 12, like you do with OS 11 already, is consuming of the main desktop providers or the main virtual machine providers or infrastructure providers in terms of cloud services. But also, and that's what is new with OS 12 on the right upper side, you will be able to consume the application on a native or a hybrid or a SaaS-based approach to connect to different services and applications and software, by having the flexibility to take the best of all of them, what is being provided by the cloud. Means if you want to stay with a VDI concept and running your desktop from the cloud, you can do that with OS 12. If you are thinking to use the possibility to run a SaaS application within your browser, there will be no need to do that by connecting to a Windows world and starting a browser and then connecting the Salesforce application. We will be able to do that from directly native from the IGEL OS desktop, and that, together with some features we will introduce with IGEL OS 12, will give you the flexibility to do both, depending on what your use cases are, or depending on what the use cases of the end users from yours are. So that is what's changing really, and the promise here is not any cloud and any location. So it's any workspace on any device, because you're starting to decide on the workspace you want to work with. Is it IGEL OS as the new workspace, consuming the different services from different cloud architectures, or is it a hybrid approach where you sometimes connect into your virtual machine in the remote, sitting remote anywhere? So what is the target audience of this new architecture? I think that the easiest answer for that question is the IT professional, so mainly you. That's what we are targeting, to give you the best in terms of simple, secure way to use our products and manage our products in terms of IGEL OS from a manageability perspective. And we will do that by introducing new services, which will enable you the simplicity of the management. But we're also targeting not just the IT professional, but also the end users sitting in front of the IGEL OS. Means in terms of usability, user experience, we need to do that in a way how end users looking into IT infrastructure and IT systems. They want to have the ability to use the products as they are aware of from a private environment. And we're also targeting to meet the requirements of an organization, of the whole organization. Means we know that you have the requirements of having compliance in terms of security policies and some organization level, but also staying sustainability with green IT approaches, and all of them will be part of our solution. So let's look what we already building within OS 12 as a new features. What are the key features of OS 12? As mentioned before, you will be able and enabled to connect to different cloud services, not just on a VM level or a desktop level, but also within an application level. And that means that the multi-cloud connection is something which you are utilizing simultaneously. So the idea is to log on with a single sign-on approach to the OS 12. And from there, you could use all the applications independent of if they are being streamed from a cloud to your and running virtually and being streamed to your operating system, or a SaaS-based application where you use the browser to connect to, and without the need of re-authenticating yourself. And how we will enable to be compatible with that all different cloud providers, where you not are in control and in charge of by not setting up this different cloud services by yourselves, but just consuming that. We will enable you by modularizing the operating system. Means we will separate the operating system level from the application layer. So you're able to make modular updates should just the application you need to stay compatible with all the different cloud providers. And I think that what Matthias mentioned before was a really good example. Well, OS 12 has its key advantages. So if you are being forced to update your Zoom client, otherwise you will be not able to connect to this Zoom cloud and make your video calls. That doesn't mean nowadays it could break your business continuity. But with OS 12, it is just an update from a dedicated application to stay compatible and can re-enable you to connect and stay compatible with that cloud services. So, as Christian mentioned, for sure we will be increasing the hardware support, and this has several parts within. The first one is that we will build OS 12 based on Ubuntu 20.04, and I saw that question beforehand, so that's why I take this directly as a question. And as you know, we are not building OS 12 just on top of another Linux distribution like Ubuntu. We have several components which is maintained by ourselves, like the kernel mentioned by Christian. This will be the case for OS 12.2 for sure. And we have a different graphic and audio stack to stay at the edge and being compatible with the newest hardware platforms. And that's a promise we are doing with IGEL OS for years now. What will change with OS 12 is also the flexibility of consuming our products. It's not owning our product anymore. So it's more consuming and giving you the flexibility to stay with the subscription level you prefer. And this is something we will change with OS 12. So it's not a perpetual license. In the future, it's a subscription-based licensing model, which we will introduce with OS 12. So the benefits from OS 12, together with what is already mentioned by modularizing the operating system, will be some features together with services which will introduce. The first one is the so-called onboarding service. It will simplify the onboarding process of an IGEL OS device by having a service running in the cloud maintained by IGEL, where every IGEL OS device will connect to at the very first boot to get the information needed to connect to the IT management system of your company. So the idea here is to provide an onboarding service in the cloud where you put the information into to find all the ICG and UMS instances you're maintaining, and together with an authentication method, which is then implemented in OS 12, we could reroute the IGEL OS 12 device directly to your management. There is no need for the end user to know technical information like the URL of the ICG or having any certificate issues, or even the need of a one-time password which needs to be deployed to the end users. They can do that by just typing in their cloud identity. So, for instance, if you were using Azure AD as your cloud identity provider, they could use their Azure AD user and credentials to onboard the device. And with a second service which we introduce called the App Portal, you will be really flexible in terms of deploying applications to OS 12. That means there is no need to set up your own infrastructure to hold the new applications in your own location. We will provide an app portal. It's a app store-like approach where all of our applications built by IGEL itself, plus our technology partners within the IGEL Ready program, could put their applications for IGEL OS into, and you could use that app portal to deploy and manage the application directly to the endpoint. So, and the third service which will be introduced with IGEL OS 12, but this will be in a later stage in 2022, is so-called Insight service, where we'll gather information, telemetry data from the endpoints, as well as from our management suite and our services, to give you insights about your environment in terms of IGEL products, and do recommendations for you how you could get more out of our products. On the other side, we will make further changes, or we are doing and implementing now further changes in the UMS 12, where we enable the management of these applications by modularizing the IGEL OS itself. So you will connect with your UMS 12 to the app portal and download the metadata of the application. So you're able to manage all the applications provided in the app portal directly from the UMS. And we also consider to have all the needed metadata of an application included in the application package. Means you will be able to manage new applications with new configuration possibilities in the UMS 12 without need of updating UMS 12 itself. So together with the configuration UI as part of the applications, we have a feature called the dynamic management, where the UI itself are part of the applications. We will introduce a completely new communication protocol between the UMS, the ICG, and the endpoint to make it more secure and efficient in terms of deploying the management instances into a cloud environment. So it's more standardized way of communicating to each other within a cloud environment. And we will open up the APIs to enable the integration of the UMS into other asset and management systems, and also introduce some integrations directly from our side with one of the biggest device management systems out there. So that's the idea of what we will introduce next year, and where we are working already hard to bring that to you in the next year. All the services which I've talked to in the last slides will be covered by a new umbrella service, I would say, a service hub. Means we will consolidate all our services, so existing one plus the new ones which will be introduced into the service hub, making it possible to use all the services directly with one account. The idea is to consolidate identity and access management to all our services by a platform called the IGEL Service Hub. That means all new services and existing services can be hooked into that service and give you the ability to decide which of your company employees can use which service and have the rights for. So the right management is being part of your self-service ability from the service hub. If you put all together into one slide, what we are working on and will be introduced next year, as you see that following landscape means oops, that was one too much. We will have, from a management perspective, UMS 12 with different services to enable or to give you the glue between the management and the endpoint for a better and efficient way of managing the devices together with the app portal, the onboarding service, the insight service, and also by integrating existing services like the IGEL license portal into the service hub, enabling the integration into other device managements with the UMS 12. On the other side, making it flexible enough for the end user to connect to different cloud services, independent of if they are DaaS, VDI, or any other SaaS application in the future. So probably it's worth to mention that we will provide an SDK for all who are interested in to build their own applications. So we will have an SDK for OS 12 where you can build your own applications for if you are interested in. Otherwise, it will be used by technology partners to build the applications for the app portal and for OS 12. This is what we've conceptually made and built and implementing and testing right now to have all these exciting new features within the time frame of next year. So this was it from my side.
It's a lot of stuff.
Great.
So it's really, really great to see what we're doing. I mean, amazing. I love it. I can't wait to get my hands on that. We do have one quick question before we open it up for Q&As, but it was one that was brought in. I think it's actually a really good question too. He says, how can you guarantee stability and quality assurance in such a modular operating system? How to, I don't have my glasses on, how to avoid dependencies and interferences between the different apps?
Mm-hmm. Really good question. And the answer is we have technical implementations to avoid dependency solving mechanism. Means the application itself containing metadata describing the dependency of the operating system, and can say need at least a 12.05, for example, needs another application to be able to run like a special driver or any other dependency. So that's part of the architecture of our app packages. So they are including the information of dependencies as well as conflicts. So it could be also described that it is not possible to install this application together with this, another application. So the system itself is self-containing in regards of dependencies and conflicts, and solving it by themselves. So no worries about that. So that was the one question. The other was it was,
yeah, go for it.
Pardon?
Yeah, sure, I can read it. So any updates on the Beyond Trust partner solution for remote support?
No, that I don't wanted to go to the next question. The question that Doug mentioned has two parts, at least from my perspective.
Then, so sorry. So
the other part,
how to avoid dependencies and interference between the different apps.
No, I think it's more the question regarding how we could ensure appropriate quality process within apps. I think that's within that question, and that is what I want to answer. The other thing is we have a perfect settled partnership program with our IGEL Ready, which is over in a year now in the field, and this gives us the possibility to have a well standardized quality assurance process already in place nowadays by having separate different levels of quality assurance. Partnershiping means some of the tasks are being done from our technology partners, so they could test against the available operating system, but also we could do that from our side. So depending on the agreement between the partner and IGEL, we are ensuring that all the stuff is working really well with the current platforms.
That's great. So let me just ask then the next question. So we have a question which is coming up in prior, which is you announced a lot of private builds in 2021. I know that the OS 12 will have another approach, but why not making them publicly available, at least in the IGEL community?
Which one's the private build one?
Yeah, exactly.
We are working on a new way of releasing products that's derived from the fact that we have a platform, the IGEL OS 12 itself, and on top of this we have several applications which have different release cycles. So our idea is to have I would say a quarterly based release of the operating system itself, and we are able to provide just new versions of application independently. That means depending of the vendor of this application release cycle could provide the newest version of the application directly into the app portal. No need to synchronize the operating system release cycle with the application release cycle on that. I would think that will solve the problem in the future for sure. Yeah.
So just in case, for those of you who don't know it, we have an insider group, which is an awarded amount of people who delivered a lot of help, a lot of answers, a lot of posts last year and the years before. And there, for the people who are under NDA, we are allowed to share the private builds directly, but that's the only exception. So for all the other steps, you have to open a ticket or go through your sales engineer for that request. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mali.
Welcome.
Perfect. I'll take the next question. Let's take that beyond trust question. We did not take that one, right? Yeah. So any updates on, and this was a question from within the Q&A, any updates on Beyond Trust partner solution for remote support?
Never heard of that. I'm not sure, Matthias, Mali?
Me either.
So it's hard to provide some news about that.
I am not sure. Can you add more context, AJ?
That would be great. He is still in the call, so I expect that he might deliver some insights, at least in the Q&A, or if not, just text me and I will try to get it over. Okay, we'll take the next one then, to be impolite. So just because the question is coming up, right. So it was relating the API. So I had a rumor that is all built via APIs. Will these APIs be made public so anyone can take advantage of them to script code, etc.?
I am assuming that the API discussion is directed to the UMS. And for that, I would say yes, because the aim here is to provide all functionality and the end of the day from our web-based UMS console, and that is on top of our own APIs, which we want to make public. In this case, I would say yes, you will be able to script your own automatisms to provide additional functionality based on that API. Yeah.
You're already doing a great job on that regarding the headless installation of the UMS. So that was one of the biggest steps that we were waiting for a long time, which is the base for an API use of the UMS. So stay tuned on that one. It's pretty helpful.
Yeah, it's all about targeting to the cloud readiness and cloud nativeness in that terms. And this is why we start to provide APIs to enable you to integrate it with other solutions, but also taking the advantage of the cloud environment in terms of, for example, the scripting to run the processes and stop it and restart it every time you need. Yeah. To automate that.
Perfect. And here's a question that we received prior to the event. What are the possibilities and limitations of the upcoming BIOS firmware update feature? This is something we hear a lot about, or get a lot of questions related to the ability to update the BIOSes via the UMS. Any comments about that upcoming feature?
Should I take this one, or do you want to take this, Christian? So I take. We have two things on the roadmap. First one is having a standardized way to update or manage the updates of a BIOS by leveraging the LVFS. So I'm not really sure now what the abbreviation is for, but it is the firmware service from Linux, vendor firmware service. Now I've got it there. We want to leverage that one to enable all standardized BIOS updates in terms of UEFI capsule update standards, and also thinking to integrate dedicated BIOS tools to make not just the BIOS update available, but also manage the management of the BIOS. So the configuration of the BIOS is mostly asked from different customers, and how we could manage this one. Hope this helps.
That's for sure. I will have another question on that, but before asking my own questions, because that's the goal of the session, I will pick up the Beyond Trust discussion, because we got now 2 answers on that. So the first answer coming from Sean, using Beyond Trust BombGuard as a remote control solution. Our enterprise wants one method to control Windows and IGEL device. The BombGuard is a solution, so having it integrated would help. And just because it belongs to the same topic, AJ is also answering. Beyond Trust stated they successfully joined the IGEL Ready program. I'm looking for updates when builds will be tested with their software. A previous software update to their software made IGEL-based systems unbootable.
Mm-hmm. So the good news our IGEL Ready program is that much big now that we are not aware of it, of every technology partners. So that's the good news. On the other side, I'm not really aware of that Beyond Trust BombGuard solution. I'm not able to give a direct answer to that.
So that's the same for me. So so when they would have a higher IGEL Ready level, so we have 3 different levels. So the activated is that they are self-verification. There's the self-verification, so they are testing the solution by themselves. So with the higher level, we would take care about the testing, and then we would also know about them. So I currently, I guess they are just at the lowest level here.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Victor, I have a really good question.
AJ, so quick question, can we follow up on this? Because I think we owe you a good answer to this. Not only could. So can you take this offline and email me at haas@igel.com and make sure you get a sufficient answer on this.
Thank you, Matthias. That's great. That's great. So again, that's Haas, H-A-A-S @igel.com. I had to learn how to spell it.
Thanks, Doug.
My name's Doug Brown. I mean, how simple is the name of that, right? So everything is difficult for me. This is a great question here. Are the new functions, quote unquote, cloud only? For example, we have clients on secure networks and they cannot contact cloud services directly. Are there going to be, or are they going to have on-prem UMS to distribute applications? So what about the folks that are not, do not have the ability to communicate publicly with a cloud?
Yeah, for all features, we are considering to have that in any way of an offline mode. So dedicated to that question, the answer is pretty easy to say yes. The UMS will be able to provide that applications for those endpoints who are not able to connect to the cloud and not connect to the app portal for that.
Perfect.
Okay.
Seb, I'll give you the last question, and then we'll close it all on. Close it out.
Be just on time. So, any advancement on firmware updates, notification for end user to delay install or select another date and time to perform the install without interrupting the work?
That's another great question.
Yeah, it's another good question, and it's another great answer which we have. Because yes, we didn't talk about the new feature background update. It is the answer for that question means we will have the ability to prepare the update in the background. So while you are working with your IGEL OS device, the update still starts the process to update, and then we'll ask the end user if it is fitting to the time slot or should be deferred for another time slot where the update can be done.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Perfect. You know what? We're right at 6:30, or at least 6:30 Berlin time. And Bavarian time. I'll make sure that Nice to the Bavarians down there. I've learned that, for the Americans out there or anyone else, but there is a difference in Germany between the North and the Bavarians. The Bavarians are very proud of Bavaria. And I absolutely love it because I really have no clue. I'm an American. I'm the outsider in the country. So that said, guys, thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to be here, for the panelists, for the guests here. And then, of course, thanks all the attendees that attended this. I hope this is of value to you. We'll definitely do more of these. If you have suggestions, is there something you want us to dive more into? Just let us know. Send us an email, post something into the community. We have community feedback channel. Or anywhere, just send us a direct message or brown@igel.com, and we'll make sure we bring that to market for you guys, because that's what we do. That's our job, right? Right, Sebastian?
Absolutely.
You got it. So, what else do I say? But happy holidays and happy New Year. Next time we'll chat with you, like in a meetup, will be in 2022, and that sounds so strange for me. I'm getting old. What happened?
That's right.
Also, thanks from my side for taking the time to listen in what we have to share. And we are more than ever looking forward to your feedback. And I'm a huge fan of the community. If things are relevant, you please use the community, share with us. I know Doug and Sebastian do a great job on handling this also in the product group. And feedback is very much valued and welcome. So have a great rest of your year, a great vacation or holiday season, and see you next year.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Thank you very much
from my side.
Yeah, for your great questions. Yeah,
thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sebastian and Doug, for having this platform for us.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a great day and a great week. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.